Delemig São Paulo Survival Guide. What to expect at the Federal Police if you have an appointment at Delemig in São Paulo, the Polícia Federal unit in Lapa. You need to understand one thing up front. This is not a place you go to figure it out. It is a place you go to get processed. If your paperwork isn't right, you don't typically get guidance. I'm Luciano Oliveira, a Brazilian attorney also licensed in California and Texas. I work with foreign citizens across Brazil and in São Paulo specifically. We regularly support clients with immigration filings in Brazil. Quick disclaimer, general information only, not legal advice and not tax advice. Immigration rules and internal procedures can and do change often. Let's get started. First, what Delemig Lapa is and what it isn't. Delemig is the immigration division of the Brazilian Federal Police. In São Paulo, the immigration unit located in the Lapa area is one of the largest in the country, and many foreigners end up there for appointments and registrations. The address people commonly use for the São Paulo Polícia Federal immigration site is Rua Hugo Dantola 95. What they do: biometrics, registration steps, receiving documents tied to your case, issuing protocols, updating your registration, and in many scenarios, moving forward toward your RNM, CRNM card. What they do not do: they do not act like your immigration advisor. They do not explain the system to you. They do not fix your forms. They do not tell you which category you should choose. They do not coach you through Migrante Web. And they definitely do not care that the consulate was easy. That last line matters. A lot of foreigners are shocked because the consulate stage can feel almost friendly. Okay, if you were lucky. You provide the compliant documents, the consulate checks your package, and it moves. Inside Brazil is different. Here, the Federal Police is the face of immigration, but they are not your filing assistant. They are the authority. Now, let's talk about the three systems that confuse people. 1. Migrante Web. This is where many immigration requests are filed or managed online. 2. Agenda Web. This is where you typically schedule many federal police appointments. 3. Cismigra and other status systems you may see referenced during the process. Here's the practical reality. The systems are not designed with end users in mind. If you expect a clean, intuitive workflow, you will be frustrated. So the rule is, treat this as a compliance project. Next, how to get there and how to plan the day. If you are in São Paulo City, most people go by Uber or taxi because it's straightforward. If you insist on public transportation, do it only if you are comfortable navigating São Paulo Transit and you have extra buffer time. The biggest mistake is arriving stressed, late, and disorganized. Bring patience. Even with an appointment time, you should plan your day as if you're blocking half a day. Crowds and delays happen. Processing speed depends on the day, the workload, and the officer handling your appointment. Do not schedule a critical meeting immediately afterward, and do not schedule a flight on the assumption that you'll be in and out quickly, and much less that a positive outcome is guaranteed. Now, do you need an appointment? In most cases, yes. Most services at Delemig Lapa depend on a scheduled appointment through Agenda Web. People often learn the hard way that showing up is not a strategy. Also, let's be honest, appointment slots can be difficult to find. Sometimes the system shows no availability, sometimes it throws confusing errors. Sometimes you check for days and see nothing, and then suddenly slots appear. So if your document expiration or your card expiration is approaching, do not wait. If you live in Brazil and you plan to renew, replace, or update your status, start as early as 90 days before your expiration or target date. The system does not care that you're busy. Now let's cover some of the most common questions foreigners ask. How crowded does it get? It typically does get very crowded. Expect lines, expect a mix of people, families, students, workers, people renewing, people registering for the first time, refugees. Are they punctual? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Do not treat your appointment time as a guarantee of immediate service. Something else that can add substantial time to your journey is the need to pay for fines or go to a different department within the station for some reason related to your case. It is like you are getting a second appointment within the first appointment. And this one, unfortunately, typically requires you to stand on a line for an unknown period of time. Do they communicate in English? Assume Portuguese. If you get an officer who speaks some English, that's luck, not a plan. If you're not comfortable in Portuguese, you need to be prepared for that. Can you bring a friend to translate? Sometimes they will allow it, sometimes they won't. Sometimes it depends on the officer. There is not a single consistent standard you can rely on. Here's the practical reality. Attorneys with a valid license are the only ones typically guaranteed to be allowed to enter with you to support the process professionally. Now, let's talk about the document and payment side, because this is where most people mess up. GRU, and we actually say GRU, in most immigration processes, you must pay a GRU fee with the correct code and you must bring proof of payment. If you pay the wrong GRU, or you upload it incorrectly, or you show up without it, your case doesn't move. A GRU is not just a fee, it's a compliance item. It must match the service code you are requesting. Now about the document. Most foreigners underestimate how Brazil works with documents. You should expect to bring originals and copies. Yes, copies. Brazil loves copies. And if you are dealing with foreign documents, you should assume sworn translations into Portuguese are required for use inside Brazil. However, most of the time, Brazilian immigration will enforce the sworn translation requirement only for major documents such as birth, marriage certificates, and background checks. For the other documents, they may allow you to use regular, simple standard translations. Consulates often accept documents in the language of the country where they sit. Inside Brazil, that flexibility disappears. Also, some documents need to be fresh and others do not. For example, bank statements and proof of ongoing income or remote work are often time sensitive. Criminal record certificates are often time sensitive, but civil status documents like your birth certificate typically don't expire, even though they can still be requested or become relevant. The key point is the exact list depends heavily on what type of immigration benefit you are pursuing. Now, a few practical don't waste your day tips. Dress like you're going to a government building. Many units enforce basic dress standards. If you show up in shorts or beach clothing, you may be denied entry. Don't be the person who loses their appointment because they dressed like they were going to the beach. Print what you can. Bring your appointment confirmation. Bring your GRU proof. Bring a document checklist. Don't rely on your phone battery. Organize your documents in a folder with separators. If the officer asks for something, you should be able to hand it over without a 5-minute excavation. Now, what are they typically helpful with? They are efficient at processing what is properly prepared. If your file is correct, the appointment can be straightforward. Identity verification, biometrics, document intake, protocol issuance, and instructions for the next steps. What are they not helpful with? They won't teach you how to fix your case. They won't explain confusing fields in Migrante Web. They won't debug your category selection. They won't tell you how to respond to a request for evidence. They won't typically tell you how many days you have left to stay in Brazil, although sometimes they do. And they won't remind you of deadlines. This is why people get shocked on renewals. They did the consulate stage abroad and thought this is easy. Then renewal time arrives, they try to save money by fighting themselves. They hit technical fields that aren't explained. They miss a translation requirement, they pay the wrong GRU, they don't monitor the case. They miss a request for evidence, or they file too late. And then suddenly they are rushing. And when you are rushing in immigration, you make mistakes that can derail your case and overall immigration in Brazil. Now let's talk about timing after the appointment. Many people ask, how long until my CRNM card is ready? It varies. Sometimes you are told a timeline, sometimes the status looks like it's stuck, sometimes it's taking longer than expected. So don't schedule international travel tightly around card issuance or pick up unless you have a clear confirmed plan. One more thing, they don't deliver your card. You must go back to the station to pick it up yourself or have a power of attorney done in a very particular way to allow someone else to pick up on your behalf. So why are immigrants usually better off securing professional help? Because this process punishes small mistakes. If you are a systems geek, you have time, you read Portuguese comfortably, you understand how Brazilian bureaucracy works, and you don't mind trial and error, maybe you can attempt it yourself. Most people are not that person. Most people have jobs, businesses, families, travel plans, and a life. And they find out too late that saving money on professional help turns into paying more later, plus stress, plus lost time, plus avoidable risk. And I will be very clear about something. We are not the right fit for last-minute panic cases where someone ignored deadlines and wants a miracle in 72 hours. The best time to get help is before you file and before your status gets messy. We have a fully staffed office in São Paulo, and we help foreign citizens handle immigration filings from the beginning, choosing the correct category, preparing the right documents, managing translations, paying the correct GRU, filing through Migrante Web when required, monitoring the process, responding to evidence requests properly, and coordinating the federal police appointment steps afterward. But again, you typically work with applicants who are hiring us before messing up their cases. Our first consultation is typically done remotely, so you can attend whether you are in São Paulo or elsewhere. If you find this content helpful, please like this video and follow us for more content relevant to your needs.